my name's Annette and welcome back. This is part 2 of my acquisitions and impressions for the month of April. So in this video I'm actually going to talk to you about the games that I did manage to play that I acquired for the month. So I either played them a lot or I played them a little bit, but I'm going to tell you what my impressions are about those games. So let's get to it. So the first one I'm going to talk to you about is Flip City. Flip City. So basically what this is about is it's a deck building game, meaning that you're going to start with a set of cards and you're going to have a marketplace in the middle between all players. And what you're going to do is you're going to have to pay the cost of these cards in order to acquire them and build your deck. So you're going to get more cards into your deck so you could do more things. So it's a general deck builder. However, it has one major uniqueness to it, which is the flipping portion. So in some of these cards, I'll show you, for example, this residential card right here, it also can be flipped around and then it becomes an apartment. So as you see there, they are just double-sided. So they have two different types of buildings. So when you're in the marketplace and you get some coins, you can purchase other cards. For example, this convenience store costs only 2 coins. So you just pay that amount and you add it to your deck. Now what you're going to do is you're going to have to shuffle these cards. Now this is my only little gripe with this game, is that you have to be really careful when you shuffle them. Simply because if you mess up, if you drop a card, it's kind of sketchy, simply because you don't want to seem like you're cheating or anything, but you have to be careful when you're shuffling. And not only that, you can't really be looking at them while you're shuffling, because the card you're going to play is the card that is going to be on the top. So you can't really be staring at your cards while you're shuffling. So it kind of becomes a dexterity game. So when you finish shuffling your deck, that's when you start playing your cards. So you can decide to either play the top card or not. So now it comes into a push your luck element, where you're going to decide, should I play it or should I not? Because if you do play it, the card underneath is going to become available and you're going to have to make that decision again. The only bad thing is about playing a whole bunch of cards is that eventually you'll start collecting these little unhappy faces. And so you don't really want to get 3 or more unhappy faces, because then you lose your turn and you don't go anywhere with that. So you kind of have to push your luck to get more cards and get more money to buy better cards, or go towards the main objective of winning the game. Or you could just play it safe until you build a good solid deck. So yeah, I actually really enjoyed Flip City so much that I picked up the expansion this month as well. So I first picked up this, and then I went ahead and loved it so much that I picked up the Flip City Reuse expansion. And what this adds is a couple of different cards, a couple of extra building cards. So I'm interested in playing these. I haven't played with them yet, so I can't really tell you too much how much it adds to the game. But yeah, I like Flip City, and I would recommend it if you like deck builders with something a little different. So check that out. Alright, so the next game I got is actually not a complete game, it's an expansion to a game. So the actual game is Viticulture. So Viticulture itself is a fantastic game. It's a worker placement game where you actually own a vineyard. And not only that, but you're harvesting, you're planting, you're growing these different grapes, and you're actually making wine, and it's perfect for a glass of wine while you're playing. So I love this game. And not only that, but it also has visitor cards, so you can also acquire these cards which give you special abilities to play the game better. And so I actually managed to get the More Visitors expansion. And what this offers are more visitor cards. It actually was pretty fun. I managed to play it, and I managed to play it with a couple of people this month. One of them actually came from Europe, so I wanted to go ahead and mention his Instagram is Board Game a Day, and so I'll put a link below. But yeah, he came all the way from Europe, and we played with the More expansion, and it was great. I also played with Alexis too. He's also on Instagram, and we had a great time. So yeah, I would actually really recommend this if you're a fan of Viticulture already, and you already have like the Tuscany expansion and such, which I don't have. But you should definitely add this if you do, if you're a fan of the game. Okay, so another game that I actually expanded upon too was for Eminent Domain. So Eminent Domain, I'm a big fan. I love deck building, like I mentioned before. But this game is dealing with space, and what you're trying to do is you're trying to acquire these different planets, either through military force or through colonization. So it's a pretty big game where I can't just explain it to you briefly because I don't have the time for that. But I did manage to acquire the Exotica Eminent Domain expansion for it. So if you're familiar with Eminent Domain and you already have the Escalation expansion, or if you don't, you should actually pick this one up if you're a fan, because it adds a little bit more to the actual game. So what it does add to the game is asteroids and exotic planets, along with technology cards and some other initial planets, starting planets and such. So these asteroids, they're not worth much by themselves, but if you get a whole bunch of them along with some technology cards, it can become a really powerful set of a tableau that you have where you can score a lot of points. But you have to invest into those low-cost asteroids in order to get a whole bunch of them, and invest into that technology card, which allows you to actually double up on points that way. So it's really interesting. I didn't play with that, my partner did, and I tried to play with the exotic planets and kind of test the waters with the new cards themselves, and it came out to be a really close game again. I think it was like 33-32, so really close game. If you like Eminent Domain already, you should definitely check out this expansion because it adds a little bit more, and it doesn't change the game completely. It just adds a little bit more flavor to a great game already. Alright, so I already talked to you about the expansions that I played for this month. So let me talk to you about this absolutely new game that I acquired. And this game is called Super Motherload. It's a pretty silly name, but it has great artwork, I think. A lot of people aren't really interested in the artwork, but I don't understand that. I mean, everyone has different tastes, so it's fine by me. But, for example, this is the artwork that comes in this game. You can see there. Some of the artwork on this card. On these cards are pretty neat to me. And so, I liked it. And this is one of the major selling points for me. I just really like the artwork and how it is. And not just that, but this game itself, Super Motherload, it was based on a video game. So this video game where you would like land on a different planet, and then you would dig on these planets and you would find these different gems. And what you do is, here is the game board. So it's a deck builder where you're playing with these characters, and what you're doing is you're trying to build your deck. But not only that, you're also digging this earth. So it's an area control game as well. What you're doing is, for example, if you have this hand of cards and you play two cards that are the same color, blue, you can dig two squares deep. So for example, you can go ahead and use this, and you can just dig. Say for example, I want to dig across these two. I would just cover them up, and I would go ahead and grab myself a black and yellow ore. So with that, that's pretty much the currency of the game. With that, you're going to go ahead and be able to buy, for example, these specialty cards where they cost you money, like right here, sorry, $10. So if you have $10 worth of gems, you can acquire these cards and go ahead and place them into your deck. So that's how you get cards. But not only that, there's also artifacts. So these little skulls right here, when you cover those up, you're going to go ahead and acquire these little tokens. And behind the tokens, you can play at any time. This will give you 3 points. See if I can show you that. 3 points. So these artifacts are really valuable, but not only that, if you cover up these 2 artifacts, then the other board comes up. And so now you have another board to play with and another board to dig into. And not just that, it's really cool because it comes double-sided, so it's variable. Now, I'm not too sure about the replayability. I could see you learning the board and kind of learning the decks too, but I thought it was a fun, unique deck building game. And the way to win this game is simply by acquiring these different cards and meeting certain trophies. So you'll acquire these different gold and silver trophies. And what you're going to do is you're going to get victory points for the trophies and also for the cards that you're acquiring. So in the end, you add up all these cards that you acquired, you add up all these trophies and any of these artifacts, and then you see who has the most points, and that's that. So that is Super Motherload. I give this a thumbs up. I liked it. I liked it a lot. But again, if you're a fan of deck building and a little bit of area control, you might want to look into this game. The next game I'm going to talk to you about is a tiling game that's new to me that I've been wanting to pick up for a while. It's called Isle of Skye from Chieftain to King. And it's by Alexander Pfister, the same guy that made Oh My Goods that I picked up last month. And not only that, and Andreas Pelikan. So this is actually a tile laying game, and it's about not just laying tiles and kind of building a little village. So with tile laying games, you kind of generally try to match different lands. Say this green land right here is going to match well with this green, and this water right here is going to match well with some water. So you're going to try to match the landscapes in this game. So you could see that. But not only that, on this major playing board where we're going to go ahead and score our points, you have these 4 windows of opportunity. They're scoring windows pretty much. So you can see these tokens. They're really cute on the back, but on the front is what matters. So what matters is this is what it's going to score you points. So if you go ahead and you apply these 4 different scoring ones there, you're going to score points. For example, here you're going to score for ships, the amount of ships that you have laid. So some of these tiles have some ships, so you're going to be really interested in those tiles. But in this game, what you're going to do is pretty much dig into this huge bag, ridiculously big. But you're going to dig into here, you're going to pull out 3 tiles, and with these 3 tiles, you're going to go ahead and put them in front of the shield. So you'll put them right in front. And what you're going to do behind the shield is figure out how much each tile is worth. So you're going to place a price to them. So not only that, so you have 3 tiles, you're going to actually axe one of them. So one of them is going to go away. And then the other tiles, you're going to go ahead and set a value to them that the opponents can see if they want to purchase. If they purchase the tiles, you get that money. Well, not that their money, but you get the money that you set those points, the tiles to. And not only that, if they don't want to buy any of them, then you purchase those tiles. So you have to make sure that you're kind of balancing, what do I want to pay for those tiles? And also, I don't want to give those tiles to my opponent because they'll score a lot of points. So it's a fine-tuning balance between what a tile is worth to either you or to your opponent. So it's really interesting. I really liked it. I played it only with 2 players, so I can't tell you too much about more players, but I can imagine there being just a couple more tiles for you to look at and for you to pick and choose. So it'll probably make it more interesting, but it worked well with 2 players. It kind of reminded me of Mad King Ludwig, if you've ever played that game where you set a market value to the tiles. So it's pretty much like that kind of setting for the market. So if you're interested in a tile laying game with a marketplace and setting the value of the tiles up, then I would highly recommend Isle of Skye. It's a pretty different tile laying game. So thumbs up for me. So there you go. Okay, so the last game I'm going to talk to you about is this game called Onitama. So it's a 2-player only game, and it's a game that has a lot of punch to it. It's a game pretty much that it's a action-reaction type of game, and it kind of reminds me of chess. It's really classical in that sense, where each piece has a certain way to move, but in this game it's not just that each piece has its own movement, it's that all the pieces can move in a certain way, and it's dependent upon these cards. So first off, let me show you this awesome way that this box opens up. It's magnetic, and not just that, it has this rule book here, and then it has all these pieces that lay like perfectly in this box, which is pretty awesome. Not only that, another cool thing about this game is that it comes with a player mat. It's not a board, but it's like a rubber mat that you can pretty much lay anywhere. So it's easy to roll up and compact and to take anywhere. But not only that, you get these cool pieces, like here's a master, and then you get these little pawns, these little monks. So what you're going to do is you're going to set these pieces all along your side, and then you're going to set the opponent's pieces along the other side. And what you're going to do is you're going to have these cards. These are the movements. This is the way your pieces are going to move. So what you're going to do is you're going to shuffle these cards. There's a whole bunch of different movements. I believe there's 16 of them. But you move all these according to here. So for example, this horse card right here, the black is the center where your piece is located, and then the other shaded regions is where that piece can move. However, you can apply it to any piece of your own. So what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead, shuffle the deck, you're going to take 2 cards, you'll give another 2 cards to your opponent, and then you'll share a floating card in the middle. Now what you're going to do is you're going to decide which piece to move by playing one of your cards. So you have 2 of them, you decide you're going to play this one, then you're going to move your piece according to this movement that it shows, and that floating card that was in between you and your opponent is going to become yours. So essentially what you're doing is you're taking a card from your hand and you're offering it to your opponent. And what the opponent is doing is then they're going to play a card from their hand, and then they're going to offer you that same card that they took and take the floating card that you gave them. So it's a really cool way to think about this game, where it's kind of like you want to be tactical, you want to be aggressive, but you don't want to be too aggressive because the card that you're giving them is an aggressive card. So you kind of have to find a balance, kind of try to pre-plan, but it's just so hard because you're not sure what your opponent is going to give you anyways. So I think it's a really great 2-player game. It plays in about 15 minutes. It's super quick, easy, compact. You can easily take this box with you to a cafe and just play anywhere pretty much. And you can even take it to a park and just play in the grass if you like. But yeah, it's a great little 2-player game that actually offers a lot of gameplay to it. Alright, well thanks for watching, you guys. I'm really glad that I went over these games with you, and hopefully I piqued some interest. And if not, then I'm kind of glad that you decided for yourself that maybe these games aren't for you. Either way, I'm glad you really watched this video. And I also wanted to give a shout out to this new group that I'm going to be a part of. I'm going to be a part of this group on YouTube called Meeples Included. We're going to have a website as well, different articles, and we're going to offer a different perspective in the gaming community. So keep your eyes peeled for that. I'll put some links below to the Meeples Included website as well as the YouTube channel. So hopefully you can go ahead and follow me as well on Nettersplays on Instagram, Twitter, and also Facebook. and then eventually also on Meeples included. So yeah, thanks for watching, you guys, and being a part of this. So I'll talk to you then. Bye.